watch out, cause I'm here now and I'm staying. Claws out, this the fight that I've been craving. I know there's something inside of me, but it's been masked by fear and anxiety. But no more, I'ma break out of the chains. Let's defiantly. I'm waking up, this ain't enough. All of my dreams were starting to rust, but I believe that I can adjust. Positive thoughts, I'm starting to trust. Nothing's deserved unless you work. Something of worth requires an urge. I have been hurt by those at their worst, but that gave me will, some power, a surge.
And they know that I won't surrender, so they fear me as a contender. When I fight, they always remember, yeah. I will be known, I won't let go. I will not stop, I will be great. I will be known, I won't let go. I will not stop, I will be great. We came here to conquer, like we're monsters. We can last much longer, we do this for honor. We came here to conquer, like we're monsters. And we can last much longer. I am a hunter, I've been filled with demons and hunger. I am the thunder, I command the masses in numbers. Look at the fear in their eyes, this is what happens when you are surprised. It's time to meet your demise, just call me Zeus and look to the sky. Everything's amplified, no they cannot deny, I will be rectified. If you dissect me, find scar tissue left behind, injuries that define me to my core. They'll hear me roar like never before, the pain I absorbed is feeding my core. I'm hard to ignore, I'll beat down your door. If you wanted war, well then you got war.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the 5th episode of the Around the Valley podcast. We just got so much to
What's up, chat?
we got so much to cover and address. Unfortunately, Randy couldn't make it here today, which is why the main topic is Giants and Cardinals specifically, but we're also going to get into the other games that happened and took place on week 1. I have my other co-host with me, YTC. Say what's up to everybody.
What's up? What's up, everyone? Welcome to the therapy session. I'm just kidding. What's up, everyone?
And Darren is also here, but he's having audio issues, so I'm assuming he's about to refresh his screen, and then he'll come back on. But he's going to be our guest for today. Oh, he's back. What's going on, Darren?
I'm here. My audio cut out.
Yeah, so like I said, unfortunately, Randy couldn't be here today, so we're just going to specifically get into Week 1 recaps. I'm going to go – I can't share my screen still. My screen's still effed up a little bit, but let's get into the Week 1 games. So before we get into our teams in the therapy session, we're just going to go straight into it. So let's just start off with our team. Get it over with. So I'll start off with the Giants. Yeah. So they lost 40-0 against the Dallas Cowboys. I'll just let one of you guys go first.
I'll go last because I have a long speech.
I'm gonna, try to say it as calmly as I can. Why is offensive line still a lingering issue after a fucking decade? Why? Just fucking why, man? Like, it doesn't matter who we put offensive line coach. We don't put anyone at right guard or right tackle. It's still the same issue. Basically, it was a buddy of mine, named Alex, who also went to Duke with Daniel Jones. Shout out to him. Basically, Daniel last night looked like fucking Eli Manning, at the second half of his career when, he didn't trust the offensive line and he was consistently getting sacked and, getting blitzed a lot. And he couldn't, deliver a strike anymore and put any zip on the ball. That's practically what he looked like the second half of Eli's career, where he couldn't get any passes out under pressure. That's how I looked at Daniel last night for me. Honestly, I'm one of the biggest DJ supporters, but no, he played like shit last night along with the rest of the team. I got to be, 100% blunt. I like the quarterback enough to let him know, he's fucking up and down, and because I care. That's exactly why, I get on my quarterback and I get on my team. I just care. But yeah, it looked like everything was going right when we, had the opening drive running the ball. I liked what I saw there, but, basically, small mistakes led to big, turnovers, in our case for a blocked field goal. And, a pick six, deflection pass off a Saquon that ricocheted in the air to the other defender to go back to the other way. It's just simple mistakes that we keep constantly making, and the turnovers the Dallas, front line kept getting on us and special teams. Dak didn't even do much to beat us. That's the funny thing about this whole thing.
He didn't throw.
He went 14 for. He didn't throw no touchdowns, no picks. He only had like 14 for 31 for 143. He wasn't, the world-beating reason he completely took over a game. The majority of it came from their defense getting short field and the running game carrying. He didn't have to do bare minimum. That's how frustrating this loss is, because knowing it wasn't because of Dak, it was because of the defense and the running game alone. The other phases of the game, I did not expect to be the point, besides the defense, to be the reason why we would majority, be taken over and blown out. I wasn't expecting this. That's just, the very frustrating part. That's how I feel about this whole thing. We had 3 months to prepare for week 1, and we just get blown out. This blown out in our own stadium with dripping while, getting soaked and wet in fucking MetLife. It's just, very frustrating. Hopefully we bounce back next week. But what you got to say, Darren?
So I'm going to start out by saying I'm very concerned about the welfare of our offense at this point. And going back to Daniel Jones, he looked like 2021 Daniel Jones, which is not a good thing. If we lose to the Arizona Cardinals, I don't have much faith, to be honest. We definitely need to work on our blocking, pass protection. I like the run game on the first drive, like you said, but that was just embarrassing, and I'm still depressed to this very moment. That's all I got.
Yeah, so Daniel Jones, let's see. 15 for 28, 104 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 picks.
Look at the times he got sacked. Just look at the times he had to drop back, get hit, and also get sacked.
He had
I don't think any quarterback would have performed up there. Even Joe Burrow had a horrible week with that thing, with the Bengals team. Everybody thought they were going to go on swinging and beat Cleveland, which I didn't. But I didn't think they were going to lose that way. I knew Cleveland was going to win, but not like that. But still, it was just crazy seeing these offensive lines, give up on these quarterbacks that quickly, and the quarterbacks looking, helpless, and helpless to do, anything just to get the ball out, out of fear. That's the effect of a good pass rush.
I was kind of excited for that game. I mean, Giants haven't beaten the Cowboys since Dak Prescott since his rookie year. So maybe this is the best team that he can face. They may have a chance to find in the streak.
And it ironically turned to the worst game it ever possibly could have been in Giants history.
I think that I don't think you can possibly get any worse than what happened the other night. But we'll get into next week. We'll get into our matchup here shortly. But I don't want to talk about the way my team lost the other day. I was coming into this game thinking we were going to get annihilated, and we actually had a lead for the first 3 quarters, and we blew it in the very end. And Sam Howell played like garbage. Okay, Sam Howell, he's getting all this hype, he's getting all this support, rightfully so. But at the end of the day, he threw 202 yards, and half of them were pretty much in garbage time too when the game was over. So my thing is, and Terry McLaurin didn't do anything either. He had 2 catches for 31 yards. That's all he had. It was mostly Jahan. I think Jahan Dotson was their leading receiver in that game. So, our passing defense for the most part played good. We picked off Howell. Should have been twice, but one of our guys dropped the ball. And if we had that pick, who knows? We probably would have won the damn game. But anyway,
this was expected from Howell because he's obviously only 1 game experience. This is his second official NFL game, so of course he'd be inexperienced. But yeah, practically that's what happened.
Yeah, so Zayvon Collins was the one that picked him off, and he had a fumble recovery as well. Dennis Gardeck had 2 sacks. Cameron Thomas had 2 sacks, I think, and he was actually the guy who got the touchdown when Gardeck strip sacked Sam Howell, which gave us the lead before the half. So for the most part, we played really good, better than I thought. Of course, the moment we lost, I did blame the game on Josh Dobbs, mainly because he fumbled twice in the 4th quarter, and the Commanders got the ball both times. But I have to blame this loss, or I at least have to blame our offense on Drew Petzing, our offensive coordinator. How do you run screenplays on 3rd and long on 2 consecutive drives? It gave me Cliff Kingsbury vibes. It's all over again, Cliff Kingsbury, but it's a different. So
little Cliff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame Jonathan Gannon because his defense did what his defense did in Philly. They were able to get to the quarterback, sack him so many times. We had 6 sacks on Sam Howell. and which is something I didn't expect because if you guys watched my preview, I said our defensive line is what I think is the weakest point heading into this season, and our defensive line was actually the best thing that happened to us the other day.
Yeah.
So, it just that week one kind of stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, also the penalties too. The only touchdown that Washington had in the first half was due to penalties. They had 67 yards on penalties.
Wow.
And one of them was a late hit on Sam Howell because you can't hit the quarterback anymore in this league. And then the second one was a helmet-to-helmet contact, which, I mean, once again, league is soft. You can't hit anyone anymore. It's like you may as well put a flag on the quarterback and play flag football with their asses at this point. But at the end of the day, Cardinals lost 20-16 in a game I feel like we should have won. I feel like this was one of the only winnable games that we had heading into the season. But after this Giants and Cowboys game, I mean, I don't really know how to feel about the Giants heading into this week right now, at least as of right now. But we'll get into that. But let's talk about these other games because I don't know how you guys did on your picks, but I went, as of right now, pending the Bills and Jets game, I am 6 for 15 on my picks.
6 for 15?
Yeah.
There's only 16 games this week, though. No, 16 games.
Yeah, so if the Bills lose today, I'm 6 for 16. But if they win, I'm 7 for 16. So right now I'm 6 for 15. I only got 6 games right.
I'm pretty sure I got all of my picks.
7 for 16. I'm 8 and 7. I'm 8 for so far. I'm 8 for 15, but tonight's the 16th game. So if I win tonight, I'll go 9 for 16.
Yeah. So let's just talk about these other games. Lions and Chiefs.
But I'm picking the Bills. But go ahead. Lions and Chiefs.
Chiefs 21-20. Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy because once you saw how human Patrick Mahomes looked when he didn't have that number one target that gets everybody else open. He was forced to throw to Sky Moore, who got who's inexperienced and also got more involved. Instead of being a rotation filler player, he had to take on the full load of the snap count, and he also had to put in Kadarius 22. You also had to put They also got rid of Juju. They had to rely on MVS. So it was a bunch of unknown receivers, or not number one guys that can change the dynamic of a game. So, yeah, that forced Patrick Mahomes to, basically improvise a lot. And his offensive line wasn't doing any favors either. Detroit, Aiden Hutchinson was getting all over that, front end line, for the Chiefs. And also they were and then from the Lions, they were moving the ball really well with Jared Goff. Amon-Ra St. Brown was making a lot of chain-moving first downs, obviously caught a touchdown, and then what impressed me more was how they were able to run the ball with Montgomery and Gibbs as a collective. Eventually, Jamari Gibbs is going to be the number one, but when you have a number 1-2 punch, with Montgomery and Gibbs, it's going to pay dividends for our offense to move forward. Also, Joshua Reynolds, also stepped up in that game, I think he was their leading receiver in that game with like 4 catches for 80 yards in that game. So as a collective, when you have 2 guys getting over like 4 or 6 catches and averaging about a good 70 to 90 receiving yards a game, that's really good for a quarterback to move the ball around and then basically trust his receivers to make the plays when they need to be made.
Yeah. So Darren, if you watched the Lions and Chiefs game, but because I know YTC streamed it.
I did watch it. I'm just gonna pop a quick joke real quick, if you don't mind. It's a nice Kadarius Toney impression, okay? My fault, cuz I can't catch.
My fault, cuz I can't catch. I got this ring going on. Y'all Giants fans are sick of me, man. What I told you, I got better bloody called me up, and I got a ring.
So, YTC actually told me Kadarius Toney was taking shots at y'all last night.
Mm-hmm.
He's the last one that should be talking when he's, one of the reasons his team lost as well. Literally, that pick six that blew off his hands was the reason they lost, but they didn't score after that. Detroit only scored 14 points on offense. The other one was a pick six from Brian Branch.
Yep, pick six. But, I mean, Lions-Chiefs, I did not pick the Lions. I picked the Chiefs, obviously.
Me too.
I do think the Lions are either way, I thought the Lions were going to be good this year. I didn't think they'd be that good.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. When I made the picks, I made them like 2 weeks at a time. I wasn't under the impression that, Travis Kelce was going to miss out the game. Chris Jones was going to, hold on that seriously. And, basically I was going into that game thinking they were going to play and, changes the dynamic of the game. But unfortunately, that didn't happen.
See, I I could tell that Mahomes really missed Travis Kelce out there because I can't the dude all the receivers played garbage. I don't think one of them had over 50 yards at least. I mean, it was terrible. But at the end of the day, Detroit's 1-0. I'm pretty sure I need them to beat Seattle next week, so we'll see how they do.
Well, I guess that just goes to show Mahomes isn't Mahomes without Travis Kelce.
At the end of the day, he still won a ring with Juju as his number one receiver, so I guess he has that at least. Saints and Titans.
I actually did not watch that game, so I don't know.
Titans and Saints?
Well, yeah, but
from what I've heard, both Ryan Tannehill played trash. Derek Carr was, over here making a lot of overthrows, but he still threw for 300. It was a very sloppy game from both ends, from what I've heard.
Yeah, so
Penn's still low scoring.
The Saints won 16-15.
Yeah, and the Titans only had 4 field goals. No, 4 field goals, I think. They had 15 points. That's it. Yeah, they didn't score a single touchdown. That's crazy in that game.
So D-Hop, just like Julio Jones, Randy Moss, Andre Johnson, your career is going to...
Wasn't a factor. Yeah.
Tampa Bay beat Minnesota.
That was a huge upset right there.
Yes.
I did not expect that coming.
I didn't see that
coming. I guess Minnesota's defense is still a lingering issue of, Baker Mayfield was able to game manage the entire game to, put up 20, and Tampa Bay's defense was able to keep Kirk Cousins in those offense at bay. Must be really interesting.
Yes, so, because, I picked the Vikings and I picked them in a blowout. I didn't see Tampa in any factor.
I didn't hear Jefferson at all either. It was mostly Jordan Addison from what I've heard in Madison.
Yeah, I
heard nothing about Jefferson.
I'm pretty sure he caught a 35-yard bomb for a touchdown.
Yeah, it was his first career touchdown. Yeah, first career.
Yeah. So I gave my thoughts on the Cardinals and Commanders, but if you guys want to give your thoughts, 20-16 we lost. So,
well, when I looked at my ticker, I'm like, hold up, no way did they score, on the defense. I'm like, oh, they can actually win this game because Sam Howell's, turning the ball over, both from fumbling and throwing picks. I'm like, oh, they can probably win this game if, they game manage their cards right. But, penalties and obviously, poor play calling and poor decision making by the quarterback, influenced the outcome of the game. Had it been any other quarterback, in my humble opinion, the game would have went otherwise, and you guys would have wasted 4 clocks off the, from playing from behind instead of a game-winning drive. You could have won 19-17.
Yeah, and for those of you that follow me on IG, I was pissed off. You may have seen I had to put a poster or 2 on my wall. So
the aftermath, yeah.
There you go. Figured. I was really pissed off because I really thought we should have won this game. But
that's how I felt too. I really thought you guys were going to pull it off. I was super excited about it too.
I thought we were too, and I thought we actually did as soon as we got that.
As soon as I saw the fumble recovery, I thought the same thing too.
I saw the fumble recovery, and then Josh Dobbs fumbled it right after that, and I was like, dude.
Like you said, yeah, your guys' defensive line definitely showed up, and that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I thought that was the weakest point for our team, but I guess it was going to be the toughest, I guess. Because, we let Zach Allen go. We let Marcus Golden go. We let all of our guys go. So I didn't think our young guys and our unknown guys would actually step up. BJ Ojolari, screw you. You didn't do anything. Gosh.
Oh.
Aziz is better.
So they're just as equal, because Aziz didn't do anything either.
Yeah, they
both Ojolari brothers were trash.
Even at the end of the day, it was his first game, so I won't backlash him that much. But anyway,
I said the same with Jameis, but yeah.
Kenny Pickett, fuck you, 30-7.
You lost. Yeah, he completely looked lost in that game. I did the game, obviously. That Niners front line was just getting to him. He was completely had nowhere to go,
and they could not stop the pass to save their life.
I picked you fuckers in an upset.
Me too.
I picked you guys in a fucking upset, and this is what you do, 30-7. You couldn't score.
Yeah, they completely.
You let an injured Brock Purdy drop 30 on your elite defense.
They made Brock Purdy look like Tom Brady because of that one specific throw where he had the Brandon Ayuk. He put the ball in between the defender, somehow in between Ayuk. That was a top 5 throw right there. He made him look like the equivalent to Tom Brady. That's how bad their secondary was getting cooked. Brandon Ayuk alone was just cooking their whole secondary. Had 8 catches for 130 or 120 plus for 2 touchdowns. It was crazy. And also Bosa didn't even have to do anything, and Drake Jackson took over the game on 3.5 sacks. They were just getting all over Kenny Pickett. Pickett was standing like a sitting duck basically in that whole game.
Dude, I know the Niners are going to win our division, but bro, they're out here looking like early Super Bowl favorites.
Yep.
Yeah, the whole front line, and we got to play that front line in 2 weeks time.
I mean, granted, we're not going to do anything regardless, but still, like,
we got to play that line in 2 weeks time. But that's crazy.
Like normally the 49ers start their season off terrible, but I mean, the Steelers just let them run all over them at home.
Not to mention they cannot stop the pass to save their life.
Yeah, and what was up with George Pickens? Like, I thought Pickett was going to, get to George Pickens. They completely took him out the game, and he was a non-factor. That was the crazy thing. And also, Najee Harris was not doing nothing in the run game. So, yeah.
All right. So, this game, the quarterback's on my fantasy team, and he didn't do jack shit. Yeah, Joe Burrow, thank you so much for 3 points.
3 points.
24
I got Josh Allen tonight, but yeah.
24-3 against the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, Bengals got completely upsetted. My thoughts on
that was my upset, though. I had that upset, but I didn't think it was going to go like that, but go ahead.
I have Joe Burrow and I have Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon only had like one good play, and then Joe Burrow didn't. He only gave me like, what was it, 7 points in fantasy? So,
yeah. Damn.
I mean, this is like.
Just the Bengals overall, like, what's going on? They only put up a field goal.
This is the second straight year where they've gotten upsetted in week 1, I think. So.
Yeah, week 1's full of upsets. Go look at Aaron Rodgers. He rarely wins week 1. He might not win tonight either. For some reason, Rodgers is cursed at week 1 for some reason. He never wins the opening games.
I don't know. We'll see. But Bryce Young actually looked pretty good, even though they only put up 10 points. They lost.
I agree.
I agree. He was going through his reads like he would normally, but yeah.
24-10, but Bryce Young actually looked pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. So, I mean,
out of the 2021 rookie class, yeah, he was up there too. He made all the the fundamental passes you could probably expect from a rookie. Obviously, they were moving the ball really well, so they were moving the ball really well. It's just Atlanta obviously controlled the clock with the run game with Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, who also went up from my fantasy bench. Them as a collective in the run game is going to cause a lot of team problems, which opens up the passing game for Ritter to not have to do much. So it's crazy how they're able to move the ball just with a 3-set rotation for running backs in Atlanta.
Yeah. So Bijan Robinson had a touchdown too, so he looked really good.
Bijan Algier had 2, I think. Yeah, that's crazy. 3 running backs, 3 touchdowns from a running back. So,
yeah. Young, solid running back core too. So I'll give him that.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, when it was halftime, I was like, "There's no way this team is gonna lose to this team," because it was 7-6 for the entire fucking game. So the Ravens beat the Texans 25-9, but the entire game it was 7-6.
Yeah, that was crazy. I'm like, how's Lamar struggling to D'Amico's defense? It looks like D'Amico might have something up his sleeve after all.
So I know someone was like praying to God that the Texans beat them, because we have our guys.
Obviously,
but and I kind of was too. I was like, if y'all lose to the Texans, I'm cursing you out because we're trying to get.
That would have been hilarious, but yeah, at the same time,
because
Houston still has a problem.
We have the Texans pick, so I'm trying to make sure they go down.
I guess the only bright side on that offense was the Nico Collins. He only had like 4 for 80. After that, Stroud, he looked average at best, nothing too flashy or this and that. But Lamar was definitely a huge question mark. He was struggling. But however, Zay Flowers did have a really good game for a rookie. I think he had 7 catches for 70 yards. So it's a good way to start out your rookie campaign for Zay Flowers.
Yeah. So I mean, if any Cardinals fans on the Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. train, you guys got what you wanted. We lost. The Texans lost, so that helps us out. The Rams won, so that actually helps us too because I feel like the Rams are a sneaky contender for Caleb Williams too. And then the only downside is that the Colts actually lost, and they're in the run for Marvin Harrison Jr., and we'll get to their game shortly. Actually, that's their next game. The Colts lost to the Jaguars 31-21, and it looks like the Jaguars were about to lose. Like, Anthony Richardson looked like better than I thought he was going to play. But Jacksonville was able to hold it on, and they won 31-21. So I don't know if y'all saw the highlights or whatever. But
what game?
Jaguars and Colts.
Oh yeah, Trevor Lawrence was struggling, I think, in the first half, but then he made some adjustments in the second. I think he had like a pick and a fumble, I think, because DeForest Buckner stripped him, and I think they turned it back to a touchdown. So that was crazy there, and yeah. guess the Jaguars' offensive line still a work in progress. If he's getting constantly pressured, but yeah, the majority of this game, Anthony Richardson really looked good out of the 2023 quarterback coming out this class. Richardson impressed me the best out of between Young and him. He really was looking like prime Cam Newton from what I saw. He looked like whole Cam Newton. He was very composed in the pocket. He was maneuvering around and making his progressive reads with the zip on the ball from what I've seen.
Yeah. Darren had anything to say?
Oh yeah, I did. So what I was thinking is, it looks like Calvin Ridley is going to be a major weapon as the season goes on. He looked pretty good in that game.
Christian Kirk, screw you for fantasy, by the way. He only had 1 catch and 9 yards.
And yeah, Anthony Richardson looked amazing.
Yeah. He looked. I'll say this: he looked way better than I thought he was going to play. So I feel like these next 3 games that we have, I'm going to have a hell of an enjoyment talking about these games. I know for at least one game, both of you guys are going to enjoy this because, let's just get into it. 38-20. The Packers living shit out of the Chicago Bears, 38-20.
Jordan Love is him.
So I'll let y'all.
They made Jordan Love look like fuck. I know. Hey, listen, I can't talk after what the Giants, laid the bet 40-0. But come on, with the Bears too, I know they put up more points and all, but they still, were just blown out by a more team they were supposed to be. At least with them, they were favored, to win. We weren't favored at all. They were favorites at home to beat the Packers because we didn't know what Jordan Love was, and Jordan Love came out, throwing all these all these great passes and make with these randoms at receiver. Who the hell was Jaden Reed, Samari, Tor? We all know who Romeo Dobbs is, but come on. A bunch of all these other randoms that came out. I did not know who Luke Musgrove was. Jaden Reed. Did I mention Jaden Reed? It's crazy. That's how random these receivers are. Jordan Love was out here cooking the Bears defense, and the Bears spent a lot of money to retool the whole defense, with Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, and then fucking DeMarcus Walker and Yannick Ngakoue. It's crazy. And also they have a really good secondary that was just getting cooked, looking lost against their receiving core. They didn't know what to do. And also, what was the play calling with, Justin Fields? I know Justin Fields played horrible. Obviously, he fumbled. He threw a pick 6. Like, you're expecting this kid to do a lot, for so much, very conservative playbook with throwing a bunch of screens and a bunch of, check down passes that, it's not going to get yards after separation. You can't expect these guys to catch all types of screens and, make every single play from a simple 5-yard or 6-yard out route until a fucking 90-yard gain or some shit. Come on now. That's play calling on Chicago's end from that end.
So, Darren, you got to say before I go off?
Yeah, the Packers own the Bears, always have, always will be. The Bears will be the Bears.
Okay. So how did Josh Dobbs outplay your franchise quarterback? I just want to know. How did Joshua fucking Dobbs, a quarterback who wasn't even supposed to start in week 1, Clayton Tune should have played. I don't care what anyone says. Clayton Tune should have played week 1. Josh Dobbs somehow gets the starting job, and he outplays your franchise quarterback. You guys traded for DJ Moore, and he had 3 catches for 25 yards. He had 3 catches for 25 yards against Green Bay's defense. And my thing is, specific Bears fan that we talked to said that DJ Moore is better than any receiver on your sorry team. Well, guess what? Not only did Hollywood Brown outplay DJ Moore yesterday, but Rondale Moore, who couldn't catch herpes in a fucking whorehouse yesterday, outplayed him. And another thing is, fucking Zach Ertz, who should have had a touchdown, even outplayed him as well, coming off an ACL and an MCL tear. So explain how, and a couple Bears fans said, "Oh, you're getting Caleb Williams." Are we sure you guys aren't in the running for Caleb Williams? You guys have 2 first-round draft picks in this year's draft, so are we sure you're not in the running for him as well? So,
the Panthers lost, so they're one step closer now.
So
the Panthers lost.
I'm sorry.
And secondly,
all these Bears fans that talk shit. I mean, you had one good offseason. Congratulations. I learned my lesson in 2020 when we got DeAndre Hopkins and I was talking my shit and we had to playoffs. That's my
lesson.
the 2020 Cardinals is what the Bears remind me of. A team that gets a star receiver, has a great offseason, and then they shit the bed and they're going to miss the playoffs this year. That's what they remind me of. But anyway, before I completely go off, shout out to the Packers. Jordan Love is him. Packers still own you guys. I'm never picking the Bears to beat the Packers ever again. I actually picked you guys.
Yeah, I actually picked them to win. And they're lucky I'm picking them over the Buccaneers this week, only because I don't trust Baker Mayfield to be consistent back-to-back. If they lose to Baker Mayfield, then I'm done picking them.
I picked y'all to win, and that's what you guys do? Fuck out of here. Justin Fields threw a pick 6 in the first game already. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, if you lose to Tampa Bay, I'm definitely not picking the Bears after this. Hell no.
Yeah, sorry. But anyway, on to the next one. And I feel like this team should have lost, even though I picked them in a lock of the week. Eagles beat the Patriots 25.
Oh, my God. I was pulling my hair at the end of the drive. Me and Matt Ultra on my live stream after the Bears game finished. We were, watching extra coverage of that game. Like, what was going up with Bill Belichick? His play calling was, old school. It's not up to date, what today's modern NFL is. I'm like, what's with all this conservative dick and dunks when you're but down 2 scores? And also, in that specific game I rewatched, right? They had 2 chances to go up 26-25 and end the game in that way. But instead, they wanted to go for it on a 4th down. And guess what? They had all their timeouts with nearly 4 minutes to go. They could have just took the field goal, played defense, and they would have been in that final drive where they had to get the touchdown. That the guy went on a bounce, Boutier. They could have just kicked the field goal every now and there and then and won 26-25. It's just bad situational football. That's basically how to sum up the final drive of that game.
Yeah, so I actually saw it was, 18-0 at one point or 16-0? Something like that.
Yeah, Patriots came back in that game.
What was in the
Mac
first?
Jones played his heart out on that one.
Yeah, Mac Jones, who was better than Fields, outplayed all those guys. So, yep. I'm surprised the Eagles barely won. I actually picked them to win by 10 points, but I mean, 1-score game. I was surprised that they only won by 5. But I mean, Jalen Hurts didn't even play that good either. So.
Yeah, he had 32 pass attempts and 22 completions for 170. No touchdowns and 1 pick, I believe. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
and he wasn't effective as a runner too. I think he had below 35 rushing yards. He wasn't as effective like he normally is.
I don't know how to feel about the Eagles. I think they're playing the Vikings on Thursday. So
that should probably be a bounce back game with how the Vikings look against the how the Vikings looked against the Buccaneers. That might be a bounce back game at home, anyways. We all know it's primetime Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. So. Yeah, Eagles will probably win that. Next game, and something I didn't see coming. Rams beat the Seahawks 30-13.
Oh, that was a surprising. I don't know. I didn't watch that game too closely, but that was a real shocker right there. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what happened. It was this one random receiver, Acuna, whatever this white boy's name is. I think that's not Cooper Kupp. He was cooking in that game. From what I heard, he had 10 catches for 110. He broke another record with this number one for the week 1 performances. I think it was crazy, and also they were running the ball really well in that game and controlling the clock against the Seahawks. It's crazy, and the Seattle has more offensive weapons around, and you'd figure they'd be able to put up more points. But I don't know how the Rams defense, how did the Rams defense, held them to 13, and also how Stafford, didn't look, looked like he didn't lost a step against the Seattle defense, who we thought would be much better.
Yeah, Darren, did you have something to say?
So I picked Seattle in this game, and I was really surprised. And someone typed in the chat, Matt Stafford looks solid, and I completely agree with that. I think once Cooper Kupp comes back, this Rams team will be legit.
We'll see.
Well, how I feel. I can't stand the Lambs, but
We'll see when their schedule gets harder if they're going to be legit. We'll find out.
I also can't stand the Seahawks, though. So at the end of the day, we're not the only 0-1 team in our division, because that would have sucked. But I knew Geno Smith was a one-year wonder. I've always said it, but I didn't think he was going to show it right off the bat, because they got rid of everybody. They traded Jalen. 4 games. So I thought the Seahawks, and they were at home too. I thought they were going to murder the Rams, but I mean, I guess it is week 1. So I mean, still fuck LA till I die. Moving on. Probably the best game of the week, at least so far. Dolphins and Chargers.
Yeah. Dolphins and Chargers, yeah. That was a shootout right there. Both Tua and Herbert were looking like the second making of Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes on that one Monday Night Football game. That's how crazy that game was. Tua specifically over here was out just, slinging the ball to Tyreek Hill. I think Tyreek Hill cracked 200 yards that game receiving. It's crazy.
Yep. I mean, like, excuse me. I always thought Tua was good. It was just injuries got in his way.
Mm-hmm.
So
Me too.
he threw for what 450, so he showed it.
Yeah.
No, the Chargers defense is like flat out awful.
Both defenses played flat out. I mean, the Miami's defense is a work in progress for Vic Fangio. It's going to take time for them to fully gel. By mid-season, they'll be much better than what they were in Week 1.
Yeah. Marcus said Waddle and Tyreek Hill are the best duo in the league. Yep, I agree.
Yep, not AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. They're above. I think they're above those two, and Jamar Chase and T Higgins.
T Higgins didn't even have a catch the other day.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
but the
0
comparisons they made in the
points,
offseasons, you already know.
Yeah, like you didn't even. Thank God I didn't have him in.
It's either the Niners or Miami that have the best receiving core, in my opinion. But I have to give a slight edge to Miami. Then it's San Francisco, in my opinion. Then the Eagles.
Yep, but on to the next game, and this game was kind of weird. The Raiders Broncos by 1 point.
That was Jimmy Garoppolo in that whole game. Looked like Jimmy Garoppolo we saw in San Francisco, but in terms of game managing and the Broncos, I don't know what happened with the Broncos over here. They were constantly turning the ball over and giving the ball back to Jimmy G. And Jimmy G looked really solid with Devontae Adams, as a security blanket. So maneuvering the ball and just game managing, not turning the ball over as often. So that's why they were able to keep the Broncos at bay, from what I saw.
Yeah. When I first saw the score in the final, my first thought was, I get to curse out Russell Wilson. But after looking at his stat line, he didn't look too bad, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Payton, how's it feel? You still regret not coming to our team? You better.
So, still, they lost to the Raiders. Just crazy, and we thought the Raiders were going to stoop the bet. And I guess, Jimmy G being back with McDaniels might be beneficial for him the way things are going.
We were expected to lose. Y'all weren't. So, at the end of the day, screw you guys. Cowboys-Giants, we already talked about that, unless you got anything else to say.
No, please, no.
No,
please,
that's about it. We'll just see what happens week 2. After week 2, I'll have to, go off of that, basically, to see, where this and that.
So,
that's the one I'll tell.
We can talk about the game today. Bills and Jets.
Oh, that game coming up? I picked Buffalo because I don't trust the Jets' offensive line. And if anything was, yesterday was the demonstration of what happens when you don't have an offensive line. I think the same case is going to apply with Aaron Rodgers. He's going to get pressured all game by that Buffalo front seven. They're going to get the ball back, and Josh Allen's going to, do what he normally does. I know it's not going to be easy because it's the Jets' defense, but, they're relatively new, the majority of them. So it's going to take a while for them to gel. I think because they're more experienced, they have more chemistry on Buffalo's offense, they'll probably be able to come away with the victory.
Darren, you got anything about this game?
Yeah, I think it'll be a very defensive game, very low scoring, but I think the Bills and Josh Allen will come out on top. Josh Allen will do Josh Allen things.
Mm-hmm.
I picked the Bills too, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Jets won. So
yeah, so it depends on the defense and also
I mean, I think the Bills are a good team, but part of me just doesn't trust them.
They're good regular season guys, but when it comes to the playoffs, they fold them. They can't put it together for some reason.
I can't trust them at all. I picked the Bills by a score of 27-24. So that's and we're going to be jumping into the week 2 games. You guys give your picks. I gave my picks. YTC gave his picks. But we're going to go into a little bit more detail about it. So to start off week 2, it's the Eagles and Vikings on Thursday. So who do you guys got?
I got Philadelphia, obviously. We already said this earlier. It's primetime Kirk Cousins. Philadelphia, they did look sloppy against Belichick's defense because, Belichick. He makes any quarterback, that plays them, don't play up to their abilities. It's a rarity, any quarterback that plays against Bill Belichick looks really good because of how good, Belichick's defenses are for confusing quarterbacks in the different zones for them to throw to. So, I'm taking them, Philadelphia. I think they'll be what they were last year against them.
All right.
Okay, so as much as I hate to say this, I have the Eagles just because it's in prime time, and you know what Kirk Cousins does in prime time, and the Vikings defense didn't look that good. So, yeah, I got the Eagles.
Yep, I got the Vikings as well. I said 31-23 was the final score for me.
Vikings?
No, Eagles. Wait, did I say Vikings?
Yeah, I got the Vikings, yeah.
No, Eagles, my bad. Yeah, so I said 31. All right, on to the Sunday games. Started off Packers and Falcons.
This is one of my upsets of the week too. I think the Falcons are going to win because here's the thing. Listen, I get what Jordan Love did was good and all, but I think that I don't know if the Packers defense is going to be able to stop Atlanta's run game because they can move the ball really well and they're at home. And also, their defense is much better than I give credit for. I think, it's going to be probably, more slow scoring. That's why I took the under in the pick'ems because both teams are going to be running the ball a lot. Obviously, Aaron Jones was a vocal point in that Bears game. I expect them to continue to be more of a vocal point. And even with Christian Watson coming back, they're still going to probably be able to run the ball more before they can, develop more chemistry with the receiving core with Jordan Love. I think it's going to be mostly both teams running the ball and just playing defense and controlling the clock. The game might be much, faster than you anticipate. I think it'll be low scoring, and the Falcons will come away at home.
All right, Darren.
So I believe in the pick'em video I just dropped, I picked Green Bay in an upset. I liked what I saw out of Jordan Love yesterday, and I think he's just going to keep it going. So, yeah, I got the Packers over the Atlanta Falcons.
I'm taking Atlanta. They're at home. They looked really good, especially defensively the other day. I'm going to pick Atlanta, and I have them winning by 1 point. Actually, a really close game.
Yeah.
So I have them winning in an upset. All right, on to the next game, and this game was hard for me to actually pick, but Colts and Texans. What do y'all think?
Oh yeah, that was a hard game for me to pick too. But I got the Texans actually. This is one of my other upsets because remember the first 4 weeks are full of upsets. This is one of my upsets I think can happen. I think Houston, at home, they're gonna, obviously they know what Stroud is. They know what the receiving core they have is. I think because of the one game, Stroud's gonna have a better time, connecting with the chemistry. And I like what I saw with DeMeco's defense at the first half against the Jaguars. Confusing Trevor Lawrence and confusing the offense overall. And I think they're, when they're at home, they're gonna, get to Anthony Richardson, the pass rush, Will Anderson, and the others. They're gonna confuse CJ Stroud. I think DeMeco's defense is gonna be the sole purpose. I think they'll win the entire game, in my opinion.
All right, Darren.
So I picked the Colts, but I think DeMeco's defense will be a threat to Anthony Richardson, but I still have the Colts coming out on top. Not by very much, I don't think, but yeah, I have the Colts.
Also, I expect Dameon Pierce to get more involved than he did yesterday. That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, Colts as well. Not by that much, but I do think Richardson will take a slight downfall because of the defense, but not, like Darren said, not by that much. I got the Colts.
Yeah, it's a divisional rival game too, so it's going to be a toss-up right there.
Which is another reason why I have it being close, but I have the Colts winning by by 3 points. So
I was contemplating the other, but I took the home team on this one just to play safe.
All right, next game, and hopefully I enjoy this game. Detroit and Seattle.
I actually got Seattle winning this in a bounce back. I think Detroit, they played an offense, that didn't have their, best receivers. I think they're, at home they're due for a letdown, after coming off a high victory with KC. I think at home they're going to, play against a Seattle team that's going to, be more humble and driven after the loss to the Rams as a wake-up call. I think they'll go in there and, establish what they wanted to establish with the run and the receiving core they got. I think Geno's going to take it. And if last year was any indicator, right, of how high scoring the game is, I think they'll be able to win the shootout only because they have a better offense all around.
Darren?
So I picked the Lions, but I believe the Seahawks do have a chance if the Lions come in being cocky after a win off the Chiefs. I think I picked the Lions by double digits, but yeah, I think anything could happen here.
Yeah, I picked the Lions. You point out the cocky stuff. I don't think with Dan Campbell as the head coach, they would really be that kind of team. But I could see Seattle maybe bouncing back, but hopefully not. I don't want them to. So I do have the Lions winning. I think, what was my score? I think I said 33-27. So still a close game. Next game. Do we even need to discuss this game? Chargers and Titans.
Chargers and Titans. Give me the Chargers on that one. Obviously, Ryan Tannehill's mid. The run game's not gonna, hasn't been effective with Derrick Henry as it used to be. Tennessee's just, overall making mistakes on the offense, and that's just leaving their defense high and dry. I got the Chargers. They have the more explosive offense, and their defense will probably have a bounce back game.
So I believe I picked the Chargers in a blowout. The Titans are just not a good team. Derrick Henry is their only good player. Ryan Tannehill is mid as hell. That defense is not good. So, yeah, I got the Chargers in a blowout.
All right. Yep, I picked the Chargers. I was contemplating picking them as my lock of the week, but this next game that we're getting into is actually my lock of the week. But, yeah, I picked the Chargers. Tennessee, y'all this.
Yeah.
You guys, if you were going to sign Hopkins, you should have just kept A.J. Brown, but what do I know? But anyway. Next game, I feel like this is the most obvious decision. Bills and Raiders. Even though we haven't seen the Bills yet, I mean, do we really...
I still think, but still, it's in Buffalo too. They're gonna. You think the Raiders are gonna go into Buffalo with that hostile environment over in Buffalo for the right reasons, by the way, not Philadelphia style, but like fan wise, they're gonna they're gonna have the fan crowd on their side. They're gonna be at home. It's Buffalo. They have an overall better roster and a way better quarterback with Josh Allen compared to Jimmy Garoppolo, who can take over a game. I think obviously the Bills are gonna have a statement win against the Raiders to prove their dominance in the AFC. That should be a marquee victory for them right there.
Yep.
So I obviously picked the Buffalo Bills. Like YTC said, Buffalo is a very hostile environment. The crowd's going to be loud. It's going to be hard for Jimmy Garoppolo to focus. And, yeah, I have the Bills winning that one.
Yep, I picked the Bills. That's my lock of the week. I said 31-17 would be the score, and I stand by that. So, picking the Bills. This, I feel like, could be game of the week, but at the same time, I feel like it could shock a lot of people and maybe be a blowout. Chiefs and Jaguars.
Oh, that's a very interesting game because this is a rematch of the divisional round, except it's not in Kansas City this time. You know how the Jaguars ended their season losing to this team. I think they're gonna. I still got the Chiefs though. After yesterday, after this past Thursday, I think with Kelsey coming back, it's gonna help out the team a lot. I also heard Chris Jones recently resigned his new contract. I believe he's coming back. Apparently, he signed to end the holdout. He's gonna come back to week 2, and I think that's gonna change the dynamic and make the team much better. And they're going to be more humble, after last week, and going to Kansas City and go to Jacksonville more focused.
Darren?
So in this game, I believe I picked the Chiefs, but I picked it in a very close margin, 1-score game. With Chris Jones and Kelsey coming back, I think it'll be a really tough test for the Jaguars to see what they can do. But who knows? Maybe Trevor Lawrence comes out Super Saiyan mode, dotting up that defense. That beautiful blonde hair,
Yeah, because these are the marquee matches you want to win the AFC to establish your presence among it. Beating Mahomes in the regular season would be, a marquee win for Trevor Lawrence in his career.
Yeah. I picked the Chiefs by 3 points, 27-24. I have the Chiefs bouncing back after the way Jacksonville struggled against Indianapolis. Maybe it was just week 1, but I'm just going to play it safe and say the Chiefs bounce back. They're getting their guys back, so I'm going to pick the Chiefs by a field goal. This next game, despite the shitty game that Cincinnati had, I still don't know. Ravens and Bengals.
You know what? I'm taking the Bengals at home to have a bounce back. I don't think that's the same team we're going to see throughout the whole year. And also, the Ravens did struggle against Houston in the first half. The Ravens, were lucky that they didn't have an offense, but with the Bengals, they still have an offense, in my opinion. That's still they're not. They're not very, inconsistent. They have very off games every now and then. Plus, it's week 1. I think they're going to bounce back at home at Cincinnati, in my opinion.
Yep, Darren.
So I picked the Ravens. Obviously, they have a good defense, and the offensive line for the Bengals looked bad in week 1. Obviously, you got Lamar Jackson, and I think he's going to have a field day with that defense.
Yep. And TOP says, Darren, your running back is worse than my running back.
YTC, you want to handle that? Because I'm trying to keep it PG.
Running back? What are you talking about? Oh, wow.
Is he talking about Saquon or Daniel Jones? I don't know.
Or is he talking about Justin Fields? I don't know.
But speaking of the Bears, first, I picked the Ravens, by the way. I picked the Ravens in a close one. I know the Ravens struggled, but I feel like they're just going to get it together eventually. I mean, I can't really trust the Bengals right now. I got to see them bounce back first, but at least the Ravens were able to regroup in the second half and actually pull it off. So, I mean,
wait, I have a question. So I didn't get to watch that game. How did Odell play?
Odell didn't even do much. I took the fantasy. He only had 5 points. He only had 2 catches for 36 or 37. He didn't do much.
All
right. Well, he was talking about Daniel Jones, for the record.
You do realize he had average 1.7 seconds to throw the ball post snap, right?
Yeah, he was forced to be a running back because the fucking offensive line couldn't pass.
He was running for his life every single snap. Just stop it.
Yeah, 13% of the. Oh yeah, there was a statistic that came out. 13% of the snaps.
66%.
And 13% of the time it was under pressure, which was the second most in week 1. So yeah.
Well, Speaking of the Bears and Buccaneers.
All right, Bears. Hey, listen, I took the Bears one last time. They better not screw me up on this one. I took the Bears only because I don't trust Baker Mayfield to have back-to-back consistent games. From what I've seen, this is what Baker Mayfield did last year with the Rams. He had one good, drive against not the Rams, the Raiders. I think, yeah, he beat the Raiders against Derek Carr, and came high off of one victory, and then completely pooped the bed, and the following week. This is what Baker Mayfield does until he proves otherwise. He can have back-to-back consistent weeks. So I think the Bears, after losing a divisional rival, they'll go in, and I think this is where they'll have sneak a victory in a very close game. I have it at 1-point game. I had this game going 18-17 and low scoring because of how dysfunctional both offenses really are.
All right, Darren.
I picked Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers because obviously it's the Chicago Bears, poverty franchise. Anyways, go ahead.
All right, so I picked Tampa, and the reason being is because, number one, Michael's going to the game, and we all know whenever one of us goes to a game, we're cursed.
Michael.
and that's actually true, though. Like, Darren.
Yeah, because Brandon went to the game yesterday, who was in our group chat, and we got blown out 40-0.
I went to 2 games last week. We lost both of them. YTC went to a game, and they lost. So, like, whenever we go
That's what led to my infamous rant versus the Eagles. Yeah, 22-48 game.
Yeah. So whenever one of us goes to a game, we lose. So that's kind of a starter for why I picked Tampa Bay. Another reason is because when I was watching the Bears the other day, because I watched the Bears because that was the only televised game I had that was 1:25 p.m. So I watched it. And just looking at the Bears, they looked all sloppy. I mean, and like another thing with the Bears too that I saw, no discipline whatsoever. And the reason I say that is because they I can't remember if it was the Bears defense or the Packers defense where they actually made one fair play on the quarterback, and like it wasn't even like an illegal hit or anything like that. The Bears just start fighting them. It's like the Bears have no discipline whatsoever. Justin Fields looked like complete, utter, useless dog shit out there the other day. So, I mean, I picked Tampa Bay by 3 points, though. I have it being a close game. So, would it shock me if the Bears won? No. But at the same time, I mean, I got to see them actually bounce back in order to pick them.
Yeah, I figured. I mean, both teams are inconsistent. They're probably not going to make it in the playoffs anyway. So, with how both dysfunctional they are.
Should have been talking shit in my Cat Williams voice. Well, all of our teams lost. So, I mean, what is it?
All of our teams lost. So, I didn't even brag. I only said, the Giants are making the playoffs, but not like, Michael with 13 wins. I thought because of our team getting better. But that might not be the case with how we looked after yesterday.
All right. NFC West matchup. 49ers and Rams.
This game's going to be much closer than people think it is, only because, this game usually comes to the wire. If it was Monday Night Football, oh, no, they would have blown them out. I got the 49ers, but I got this game being close, and it should because it's a divisional matchup. And, they know each other really well. Kyle Shanahan versus Sean McVay, yeah. Both of them know each other, know what they do, And obviously, in that it's going to be practically like a chess match, between both, trying to outmaneuver the other. I think, Kyle's going to win that battle like he normally does.
Yep. Darren?
I got the 49ers, obviously. I think I picked them in a blowout, actually. I don't know. I just don't think the Rams defense will be able to keep up with all those.
I got 27-20, winning a one-score game. It's going to be close because it's a divisional rival game.
Yeah, I don't think the Rams defense can keep up with McCaffrey, Ayuk, Brock Purdy, that offensive line. And not to mention the 49ers defense, the front seven is insane. You saw what they did to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, yeah, I got the 49ers in a big win, statement win.
Yep, I got the Niners too. I had it being a close game, though. 21-17 was my score prediction. Niners defense, I have them continuing the amazing performance that they had the other day. Rams, y'all were just a one-game wonder, all right? I'm sorry. Fuck LA. But anyway, we'll skip our game. We'll get to that last. Jets and Cowboys.
Oh, I got the Jets on this one. For some reason, Aaron Rodgers just owns, the Cowboys for some reason. I think he's going to continue that reign of terror, and the Cowboys are eventually going to have to come down to reality. They're coming off a high victory, whooping on us on Sunday Night Football. I know they have momentum on their side, but, maybe too much momentum. And, the Jets are obviously a much better offense overall. collectively from what I've seen. So I think, with Rodgers, he's more experienced and, he knows how to play against Dak. He's beaten Dak before, so he knows how to do it. So I got the Jets on the road.
Darren?
So I don't want to talk much about the Cowboys right now, so I'm going to make this short and sweet. I picked the Jets. Totally unbiased. I think the Jets are a better team than the Cowboys.
And plus, Dak didn't even do anything. He didn't even have to do much. So, when he has to play against the defense that, actually has better chemistry in mind. Yeah. And, it's Rodgers. Obviously, yeah, he has to, actually perform against another quarterback who's more experienced.
Yep, I'm picking the Jets too. Even though we haven't seen the Jets yet, I still feel like they're going to win. Aaron Rodgers loves beating the Cowboys, like no matter what. It's just that kind of thing. So I'm picking the Jets. 27-24 was my prediction. So that's my pick for that game. And
22-21, but yeah, go ahead.
Michael says, you literally went to the Cardinals and Texans game in 21. The curse is broken. Why do you love the Texans so much? First you pick them to beat the Ravens, and now you're praising my team for beating them. Are you a secret
Ohio State fan because your quarterback's from Ohio State and Stroud's from Ohio State?
I'm just saying, like Michael, it's the Texans. Of course we beat them in 2021. So, I mean,
that's one game. And secondly, if that's the statistics prove otherwise, what is it, like 1 and 7 and 8 collectively together? We go to games when we lose. It's not a good record.
I mean, it's the Texans at the end of the day. We annihilated them too. And plus, in some ways, that game was still a curse for me because J.J. Watt tore his bicep in that game, and he was out until the playoffs where we got annihilated. And Kyler Murray had a nick in that game too, and it led to him getting an even more serious injury a week later against the Packers. So in some ways, that game was still a curse for me in some way. Also, we started off that game terrible too. It was like 5-0 at one point, so we started off terrible. But anyway, let's move on. Commanders and Broncos.
Commanders and Broncos, though, this was another game, hard to toss up because the way I look at both teams, they're practically the same. Mid offense, mid defense, mid coaching, overall mid, basically. The battle of the mid. But I took the Broncos only because they're at home. They're going to bounce, but only because, Russell Wilson's obviously a better quarterback than Sam Howell. I'm going to go with Russell Wilson on this one. I wouldn't be shocked if the Commanders won, to be honest, but this game's a 50-50. I'm taking the home team on this one.
Yep. All right, Darren?
I picked the Denver Broncos, obviously, because Sam Howell, he's not experienced, and the Broncos have a better defense than Washington, in my opinion, at least. I had the Broncos, I think, in a one-possession game.
Okay. Yeah, I picked the Broncos 17-14. I had it being really low scoring. Broncos have a way better defense than we do, and I know for damn sure our defense gave Sam Howell a hell of a run for his money. So Denver's defense is going to eat Sam Howell alive. That's just what I think. But I said 17-14 Broncos over the Commanders. And was this Sunday night? Why would they put this team on Sunday night? It's the Dolphins.
Yeah, the Dolphins and Patriots. Come on, you could have put in something. You could have even put in the fucking Lions and Seahawks, and that would have sold better. In my opinion.
But I got the Dolphins in a blowout.
This was one of my final upsets, actually. I got the Patriots winning. It's at home. After what I saw with Mac Jones, he's gonna continue his, I'm not saying I'm a Mac Jones believer. I'm just saying, Mac Jones looks like he's more comfortable with Bill O'Brien with the way he played against Philadelphia's defense. And compared to Miami's defense that's, taking time to gel and gave up 36 points to Justin Herbert. I know that the offense is not the same as the Chargers, but they're at home. They were able to maneuver the ball with Ramondre Stevenson, and Ramondre Stevenson, he was getting his passes out, and I think it's Belichick. Normally he doesn't get swept by Miami. I think they're going to win the home game, for my opinion. So that's my upset right there.
All right, Darren.
Obviously, Gonzalez looks solid for New England, but I think that defense won't be able to keep up with the high-speed, high-power Miami Dolphins offense. So I picked the Miami Dolphins in a big blowout win.
Yep, I'm picking the Dolphins as well. I mean, defense did kind of make Jalen Hurts look bad the other day, but, I mean, the way Miami's offense looked, I know it was the Chargers' defense, but at the end of the day, even though the Patriots are at home, this and that, I'm still going to pick the Dolphins. Their offense is just too good to lose to Mac Jones, in my opinion, but that's just what I think. And we have actually 2 Monday night games instead of 1. The first one is the Saints and Panthers.
Ugh.
So who?
The Saints. Saints and Panthers, I took the Saints only because I got to see more with the I mean, the Panthers could win this game. They're both, 50-50, playing a horrible division. But I got the Saints only because they're at home with this one. So I got them winning in like a 15-23 score game. Very, low scoring, nothing, spectacular. Both teams are, practically horrible in my opinion. They're playing in a horrible division. But yeah, I'm going with the Saints.
I also picked the Saints. Obviously, it's a whole lot of mid. I don't even know what to say about this game, besides the fact I'm picking the Saints.
Yep, I'm picking the Saints too. I forgot what my score prediction was because that's how boring this game is. But I picked the Saints over the Panthers. Even though Carolina's on the road, Bryce Young looks somewhat decent. I wouldn't be shocked if Carolina won. But for now, I'm picking the Saints. And the last Monday night game is the Browns and Steelers.
Browns and Steelers. Call me crazy. I got the Steelers winning at home. I think they're going to, bounce back after that low performance against the 49ers. Rarely does, Mike Tomlin have a down game after losing to a, higher team, and then they're back at home, having another home game. I think they're going to make adjustments, and then, they'll be able to run the ball, but against against a, defense they know more better compared to San Francisco that they play twice a year. I got Pittsburgh winning that final home game.
All right, Darren.
I picked the Cleveland Browns. The Steelers' offensive line is not good, and that's a fact. I think Myles Garrett's going to have a fun night, to be honest. Deshaun Watson, obviously, he's an above-average quarterback, so that Pittsburgh Steelers defense is going to have to try to contain him, or it's just going to be a runaway.
Yep, I got the Browns too. After the way the Steelers played, I'm never picking them in an upset ever again. Screw you guys. I literally had confidence in you guys the other day, and y'all let me down. But for this game, though, I just don't feel like they'll be able to contain Deshaun Watson and the receiving core he's got and Nick Chubb in the backfield. So I'm going to take the Browns on this one. But at the end of the day, it's a divisional matchup, so we'll see. But that wraps up the Week 2 picks, and that takes us into our final topic, which is the preview of the Giants and the Cardinals. So if you guys are coming into our home, it's our home opener. We're both coming off horrendous losses. So I'll let one of y'all go first on what you think this game is going to be.
This game is about the Giants, instilling what they want to do instill in Week 1, which, we couldn't do against the, more stacked Dallas defense. I expect the game to be, us running the ball a lot and to establish the passing because I don't think we have that much confidence in our right side of the offensive line. So I think we're going to, basically do what we did last week, continuing to run the ball and, try to open up the passing game to get Jones more confident. I don't expect Jones to have that bigger of a game. Like, it'll be an upgrade, obviously, from last week because, you can't get worse than last week. But, it's not going to be like, 300 passing yards or whatnot. It's going to probably be like somewhere around the 180 to like 220 mark, basically what Sam Howell had last week, but with more accuracy because, the Giants are going to want to give him more short throws, to build his confidence up for next week against the 49ers, so he can get ready, to take the hits and take the, pressure so he can get back in the football shape. It's all about, basically getting back to what they were before. And I think this is a game, perfect game for us to get back, before we have to play a much harder stretch down the schedule. I think it's going to be, mostly running from both teams. It's going to be defense, both showing up in this and that. Might be even low scoring in that game, but I got the game being, somewhere around the mid-20s in my opinion.
All right. Darren?
So, obviously, the right side of our line needs to be addressed. Our right guard looked terrible. Yeah, I had the Giants winning 21-14. Like YTC said, both defenses will show up, both running games. I don't think Daniel Jones will crack over 250 passing yards, but I still have us in the dub. And I think our defense, our rookies, I think they're going to show up. Kayvon's going to show up. But, yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, this whole game for us is basically to get back mentally, especially for Jones, so he can trust his receivers again and trust his fundamentals again and get back his confidence after what Dallas's defense did.
I agree.
All right. Week 2. And thank God I am not going to this game because this is a game I really want to win. So thank God I'm not going to this game. But it's our home opener. If you guys have been following me for a while, you guys always know that I always say, because it's always true, we always suck at home. It doesn't matter what. And a big reason on why we suck at home is because our damn fans don't show up to the games. Our stadium always gets flooded by the opposing fans because Arizona is a retirement home. Those of y'all that know. So I do expect Giant fans to flood our stadium in this game. That's for starters. Because, I mean, big market teams travel pretty good. So I do expect
most of the fans are going to probably be from California to watch.
So I do expect that. Another thing I expect is our offense to step up. So I do expect Josh Dobbs to have a better game. I don't know about the run game. I know Washington's front seven, like, were able, for the most part, they contain James Conner. They contained Josh Dobbs when he tried doing a read option, this and that. Giants front seven is still good. They're still good. I don't care what anyone says. They're still good with Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, and a bunch of other guys. The pass rush is pretty decent still with Bobby Okereke. Hopefully Isaiah Simmons has a shit game against us because I don't want him talking shit to us. But there's still that as well, especially with our O-line too. Our O-line didn't really show up that well. DJ Humphries got called for so many damn penalties. Paris Johnson didn't give up a sack, but he did give up like tackle for losses when we tried running the ball. So he did give up quite a few of those. And it's also kind of sad when Will Hernandez was our best lineman the other day. So
Giant legend.
so
Will Hernandez.
Yeah, so it's kind of sad about that. But I do expect our offense to play a little bit better. As far as our defense goes, and if this is true, if Andrew Thomas is not playing in that game,
that's gonna change the dynamic of the whole game.
Y'all better watch out for our defensive line. I know the Cowboys' D line is better than ours, but we're coming off a 6-sack game against Sam Howell.
Yeah, if that's the case, we're going to be running the ball a lot, so expect Saquon to eat in fantasy.
And I also got to say this. I mean, your O-line better not force or make Daniel Jones throw the ball away or throw a stupid pass because our team will pick the ball off. They did it one time against Sam Howell when he made a dumb mistake.
Howell's inexperienced, though. Jones is a fifth-year starter, so I don't think that's going to be the case.
There was one of the picks that Daniel Jones threw. I saw it. He could have just thrown the ball away, but he threw the pick, which, in my opinion, should have been incomplete. But, you know. You get what I'm talking about.
He was being pressured on the sideline, but yeah, it was a horrendous mistake from his end.
Yeah, so as far as our defense goes, thank God we're playing the Giants receiving core because I'm not confident in our secondary. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if some random like Isaiah Hodgins or even Jalen Hyatt went off on us in this game because our secondary was horrendous the other day. They gave up so many pass interference calls.
I think Darren Waller is going to be the X factor in the receiving, in my opinion, still.
They blew up so much yards. So I see Darren Waller playing good against us, but I could also see like some random, like because the Cardinals secondary, they always let this one random have a huge game against us. Like last week it was, I mean, I wouldn't call Jahan Dotson a random, but I guess no one really expected him to go off on us. I mean, I thought Terry McLaurin was going to murder us, but he only had 2 catches. So that alone right there, I wouldn't be shocked if, you know, one of your rookies like Jalen Hyatt
Well, I expect either Hyatt or Paris Campbell to get open. So you always said the randoms, so.
I'll say this, though. Hopefully Darius Slayton has a shit game. You know why. But anyway. As far as this game goes, though, I still have the Giants winning. I'm not picking my team. I just can't. I can't pick them. Sure,
one receiving threat I do want to cover in Arizona, though. One threat. He still lingers in my mind. I think he could have a big game against us, and it's one guy, you know, Giants fans know him well when he was in Philadelphia. You know who.
Because you're what?
No.
Come on,
I know who. Are you talking about Zach Ertz?
Oh, Zach Ertz.
Go figured. When he was in Philadelphia, he used to murder us. So, yeah, that's one concern I have in the receiving game. That might be the saving grace for your offense.
He should have had a touchdown the other day, but he dropped it. And then had he caught it, we probably would have won the game. So hopefully he doesn't make those mistakes again. He actually had 2 drop passes the other day. One for a first down.
Well, old memories though. That, you know, just to make sure I don't want to leave anything to chance.
So, I feel like your secondary is better than Washington's. So that's why I'm not really. That's why I'm not confident in our pass game heading into this week.
We'll see.
I mean, if Clayton Timber, that would be.
Our secondary is just as inexperienced as Washington, but it's just better. That's not saying much other than Washington.
Our play calling has got to be on point too. We can't be running these stupid ass screen plays on 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, or some dumb shit. But
Same play calling for the Giants too. Also, when we have where we're establishing the run, when we pass the ball, try to get as much quick passes as you can, so that way you can keep the defense on their feet. That's how we're gonna have to move the ball, because I don't trust when Jones has to hold on the ball and the guys are not getting open. Usually, just reverts to him running, or he has to throw the ball away because the other guys can't get open.
But yep, like I said, I have the Giants winning. I had them winning 23-20. So I had it being a close game, because I actually looked at your past. You guys don't really blow out teams a lot. So
yeah, exactly. I had this game 27-20. I had one score.
I have it being a one-score game and a really close game. I wouldn't be shocked if that 23-20 game ended in a field goal. So I wouldn't be shocked about that if our defense chokes again like they did the other day. But that's how I have it. I'm actually going to be dropping a separate video on the preview when we get closer to the game. But at the end of the day, that's how I have it. I have beating us, and I have us going 0-2. And I feel like that 40-0 game was kind of a wake-up call / you guys are going to take your anger out on us this upcoming game. But that's how I have it. So
all I want this is just to get momentum, and then from there we'll deal with San Francisco after that and see where it goes from there.
Oh, Niners, that's going to be hell. But this episode was going to be quicker than it normally is, because obviously Randy wasn't able to make it today. He's going to be back next Monday. Due to personal reasons, I'm not going to go completely into detail, but everything's fine with Randy. He's going to be back next Monday.
Well, it looks like we cracked the hour mark, so per usual.
So yep, we were able to go fully into detail a little bit with these topics, but I guess we're good. I mean, this was mostly going to be a football episode. Football's finally back, even though there's nothing to get hyped up about with regarding my team. Still glad to see them play, even though it was a game we should have won, but blew it. So you guys got anything else you guys want to say before we wrap it up?
I'll let you go first.
I will be live in 2 hours, so yeah, probably tune in for that. After that, I got nothing else.
All right. I just dropped a new YouTube video. Make sure you guys check that out. Go Big Blue.
Right.
Fuck the Dallas Cowboys. Fuck Dak Prescott.
There's a link in the description. It has all of our channels in it. So go check Darren and YTC
Yeah.
out. Yep, YTC's on the road to 5K. So
Daniel Jones will be back. Do not count us out. Big Blue.
We'll
Let's go.
see.
All right.
I already know.
That being said, guys, have a great rest of your day, and we're out.